Arthur James Siame, you are charged with theft, contrary to Section 1 of the Theft Act of 1968. And the particulars are that on a date in September 1970 in Fulchester, you stole a document being the property of Wilcox Engineering Limited. To this charge, do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Harold Charles Gilman, you are charged with handling stolen goods, contrary to Section 22, subsection 1 of the Theft Act of 1968. And the particulars are that on a date between 1970 and 1971, you dishonestly received stolen goods, namely a document belonging to Wilcox Engineering Limited, knowing or believing the same to have been stolen. To this charge, do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Sit down, please. Mr. Wilcox, as you know, this case won't be tried today. It has merely been brought in so that the accused might be arraigned and we might hear what their pleas are, and it gives me an opportunity to talk to you. Now, as I understand it, this is a private prosecution brought by yourself without the assistance of the police or anyone else.
That's all, my lord. I'm bringing it entirely on my own.
Yes, well, I've had a glance at the depositions, and I've made a few inquiries about the case, and what it boils down to is that you are charging Mr. Siame, who is a respected trade unionist, a magistrate, a local councillor, and Mr. Gilman, who is also a respected local man, an industrialist, president of the Fulchester Chamber of Commerce, with stealing a piece of paper. Is that right?
Yes, my lord.
Yes, well, what I have to say to you concerns the merits of the case and how it may look to a jury. Now, first of all, the charge is stealing a piece of paper worth, what, 1/20th of a penny?
Ah, yes, my lord, but the point...
Let me finish, Mr. Wilcox. And secondly, the evidence is all circumstantial. I tell you frankly, it's a very thin case. Now, if this case does go on, it will last, what, Mr. Lotterby, Mr. Canty, 3 or 4 days?
Yes, about that, my lord.
The legal costs will be substantial, well into 4 figures. Now, I tell you this to give you a chance to reflect and to consider whether or not you wish to go on with it.
Well, I'm much obliged, I'm sure, but I don't need to reflect, my lord. But you call a piece of paper had on it what was the lifeblood of my company, and he stole it so that he could get his hands on my products and my customers. I used to drive about in a Jaguar, my lord, and now I'm working as a labourer on a building site. You just look at my hands, and then you just look at theirs.
Yes, very well, Mr. Wilcox. You've made your attitude very clear. Now, your next problem is that at the moment you're not represented either by solicitors or counsel. This will put you at a very grave disadvantage. Do you understand?
Well, I haven't got any money for lawyers, my lord. I had a job even paying for the photocopying, but my assistant and I will just do the best we can.
Yes, I understand the police liaison officer is in court.
Yes, my lord.
Yes. Would the police be willing to take over this prosecution?
Well, certainly, my lord.
Well, there we are, Mr. Wilcox. You've done very well on your own so far with the committal stages of the case and so on. Why don't you now hand the case over to the police?
Well, I'm certainly not doing that.
Why not?
You think I'd trust them with this?
Well, they can be trusted with this case just like any other case.
Well, if they're so trustworthy, how come they didn't bring charges before when I gave them the evidence? They said the evidence was insufficient. If that's so, I'd like to ask how come this got past the magistrate's court? Our being here today proves the police were lying. There's been a cover-up, that's what there's been, and the public have got a right
Yes,
to know.
very well, Mr. Wilcox. It's entirely up to you whether or not you're represented by solicitors and counsel, but let me tell you now how the trial will proceed without them. You will not be able to address the jury at all, nor will you be able to examine the witnesses, let alone cross-examine them.
Well, who'll do all that then, my lord?
I will. I will examine the witnesses from the depositions. Oh, sit down.
On Wednesday week, my
What?
lord.
Oh, yes. Very well, we will adjourn now until Wednesday week. Bail extended on the present terms. All stand. Now, Mr. Wilcox, you were formerly managing director of a company called Wilcox Engineering.
Now in liquidation by courtesy of the 2 accused. my lord.
Yes, I'll come to that. If you'll please just answer my question.
Sorry, my lord.
Was that company engaged in the engineering business?
Yes, my lord.
What kind of engineering business?
Well, when I started in 1946, members of the jury, there was just me and my wife in a hut with a second-hand lathe turning out one-off components for specialized machines. Gradually, it built up. We moved on to bigger things and more men.
Yes, now, in 1970, how many men did the company employ?
Well, about 100 in round figures, my lord.
And did you, in 1970, decide to embark on a new project?
Yes, my lord, closures.
Perhaps you would explain what closures are.
Yes, members of the jury, closures could be described as bungholes in containers.
So, you decided to start manufacturing bungholes. Yeah. Well, forgive me, Mr. Wilcox, but as I understand it, you claim that the accused stole a document from you containing secret information.
With respect, my lord, it's not just a claim. That's what they did. We've got proof.
Yes, yes, we'll come to that. But are the secrets with which we are concerned secrets about bungholes?
If I may explain, my lord.
Oh, yes, please do.
Well, now, suppose there's some article that's not in any sense secret. Everyone knows what it is and how it's made. Now, the company that's going to make money out of it is the one that has the most efficient and therefore cheapest production line. The production line itself becomes all important. Now, that was what I could always do, work out the smartest production line in the country. Ask anyone. Now, he couldn't do it. Left on his own, he'd have everything assembled by hand, so he had to steal from me.
Yes, yes, yes. Just stick to the point, Mr. Wilcox. Now, tell us, how can one production line be better than another?
Well, in one word, my lord, speed, and another, economy. Economy of materials, economy so far as wastage is concerned, minimizing rejects. Now, what we were concerned with was the cheapest possible production in terms of hundreds of thousands of bungholes and stoppers for oil drums, and the choice of the cheapest practical materials. I've prepared some exhibits to show this.
Oh, you want to refer to them? Very well.
May I have exhibits 1 to 3, please? Now, this, members of the jury, is a drumhead, the end of an oil drum. Now, the steel is much too thin for a plug or stopper to be fitted directly to it, which would be strong enough to cope with the strains of transportation and to prevent leakage. So what you do, you press a hole here, as you see, a 2-inch hole.
Now, that's Exhibit 1.
Yes, my lord. Then, now, can I have Exhibit 2, please? You insert through the hole this steel tube, or flange as it's properly called, like so. Now, the top of the flange on the inside is smooth and the lower portion is threaded. Then you put the whole thing under a press, tooled with a curling anvil which bends the top of the tube outwards, and that's your closure. Then all you do is put the drumhead on top of the drum, and it's all ready to be filled up. Then you just put the plug in. Exhibit 3.
Yes, I see. Now, can you tell us an example of a production secret connected with this process?
Yes, my lord. You take this measurement on Exhibit 2. Yeah? From the base of the flange to where the threading begins. Now, on the perfect flange, that's always 0.457 of an inch. Now, to get every flange to that degree of accuracy is an expensive business, and you'll be rejecting them left, right, and centre. So what you want is to know how imperfect you can make it and still get away with it every time. That's what the tolerances are, the margin. Now, in the case of this measurement, it's plus or minus 12 thousandths of an inch.
So it's the tolerances that are secret, the knowledge of how badly you can make the thing and still get away with it.
One of them, yes, my lord. There are a great many other tolerances and bits of knowledge connected with it, like types of steel and design of gaskets and lubricants and so on.
Yes, 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 good. Now, will you look at Exhibit 4? Well, what's that?
Well, that's it, my lord. That's the note of all the tolerances and specifications and so on.
Yeah, now, that one you've got there, is that the original note or the copy of an original?
That's the original, my lord.
Prepared by you with all the production details?
Yes, my lord.
When did you prepare it?
Oh, sometime in 1970. The date's on it. Yes, here we are, my lord. July the 20th.
Yes. And did you then commence production of these flanges?
No, my lord. They saw to it that not a single one would ever leave the factory. And 1,000 breadwinners on Fulchester would be on the door.
Yes, yes, Mr. Wilcox, you really mustn't make comments which prejudge the issues in this case. It is for the jury to decide whether or not the accused did what you allege. Now, why did you not commence production?
Well, in industrial action, the newspapers call it bloody sabotage is what
The
it
men
is.
went on strike. When?
Well, as soon as the plant was installed, my lord, and ready to go.
When was that?
The autumn of 1970, my lord.
Had you had much trouble with strikes and stoppages before that?
Well, none to speak of.
But from the autumn of 1970?
Well, never a day passed without a stoppage, even if they started, which they didn't usually.
Did the men belong to a union?
Well, most of them.
Which union?
His. And if you've ever wanted to see one of the animals that's brought this country to the state it's in, there's one over there.
Mr. Wilcox, I've been very patient so far, but I'm not going to stand for any more of this. If I do have any more of it, I shall treat it as contempt of court, and I shall send you to prison.
Yes,
Now, do you
my lord,
understand? Don't answer back, Mr. Wilcox. Now, what union does Mr. Siame belong to, and what position does he hold?
The ASC, he's area secretary.
What does ASC stand for?
The Amalgamated Society of Craftsmen.
Did you know him in 1970?
Well, we were kids together. We went to the same school. In the same class. We were in the same football team. He played inside right, I played left wing.
So you've known him all your life?
More's the pity.
What's that?
I'm sorry, my lord. I'm talking to myself.
What caused the stoppages and strikes?
They did.
Oh, Mr. Wilcox, really, though I must confess that I am partially to blame there by the phrasing of my question. What was the ostensible reason for the stoppages and strikes?
Well, you name it, my lord, and we got it. Every trick in the union book. Manning, tea breaks, rates, differentials, toilet facilities. We even had one because a machine operator saw a rat. Now, would you believe it? A 16-stone rugby league player saw a rat in the toilet, and they all came out.
Did you have any contact with Mr. Siame over your troubles?
Yes, sir. Never a week went by, but he was on the premises.
To see you?
Well, sometimes, more often to see the shop stewards.
And did you complain to him about what was going on?
I never stopped, my lord. I was on the phone to him all the time. You see, seeing we were kids together, I really thought he wanted to help.
Did he seem to want to help?
Well, his line was that he deplored what the shop stewards were doing, but he couldn't stop it at the time because of what he called an element of justification for their complaints. He said we'd have to wait until they overstepped the mark, and then the union would have them. And that was his line, and I believed him. I really believed him.
Do you recall any particular remark he made connected with your troubles?
Yes, my lord. It was his opening gambit. Troubles, Wilkie? Nothing that couldn't be solved by a small contribution to the area secretary.
And you said he was the area secretary?
Yes, my lord. I mean, he said it sarcastically. So it sounded flippant. But that was the cunning of it. I thought he was joking, but if I'd taken it the other way, he'd have leapt at the offer.
My lord, really? Now, I appreciate the difficulties we're in with the prosecution having no representation. But in my submission, my lord, if Mr. Wilcox cannot be restrained from making these completely speculative and wholly prejudicial remarks, these proceedings will have to be stopped.
Yes, Mr. Canty, everything you say is correct, but I don't think any irreparable damage has been done yet.
Very well, my lord. I just thought it was time I noted my hitherto silent protest.
Yes, I understand you, Mr. Canty. Now, Mr. Wilcox, you hear what Mr. Canty says. And if you go on making these prejudicial remarks, I shall have to stop this trial, and I shall make you pay all the costs of the wasted trial. Now, do you understand that?
Yes, my lord.
Very well. But you have been warned. Now, let us return to Exhibit 4. Now, this is the document that you prepared in July of 1970. Where did you keep it?
At the company offices, my lord.
Did you at any time give anyone permission to remove this document from the offices?
No, my lord. I prepared that for myself. There was no call for anyone else to look at it.
So this document remained in your offices until such time as you handed over the business to the liquidator?
No, my lord. It vanished. But I had copies. I never missed it at the time. I only noticed it after.
Yes, we'll come to that. Now, did you keep it under lock and key?
No, my lord. To be frank, I was careless. I had it in a drawer in my desk.
Did you lock your office?
No, my lord.
So anyone who wanted to steal this document had only to come into your office when you weren't there?
Yes, my lord.
Who had such an opportunity?
Him, Arthur. My secretary.
Never mind about your secretary. Now, Mr. Siame had the opportunity because during your industrial troubles, he was frequently on your premises.
Yes, my lord.
Do you know of your own knowledge any occasion when he was in your office on his own?
Yes, my lord. In September 1970, I walked into my office and he was already there. And he had a briefcase. He could have put it in that.
Yeah. Now, if someone did take this document, would it assist him in any way?
Oh, I should say, my lord. It has all the information anyone needs to set up the perfect production line in double quick time.
Yes. Now, you claim that early in 1971, another engineering company in Fulchester, G.I. and Company, started manufacturing closures, exactly the same materials, tolerances, and so forth, as yours here in Exhibit 4.
Yes, my lord.
Now, whether they did or not is a matter for the jury to decide. But if they did, could it not have been a coincidence?
Oh, no, my lord. It might be a coincidence if they got 2 or 3 items identical, or 5 or 10, but to get every single one of 40 items identical, that's absolutely impossible.
And what kind of goods did G.I. and Company manufacture prior to this?
Oh, toys, fancy goods, cheap tin trays, window frames, rubbish.
And they suddenly started manufacturing closures just like yours?
Yes, my lord.
Who was the managing director of GI and Company in 1970-71?
Him, Gilman. And he still is. I'm doing very nicely, thank you.
Mr. Wilcox, there are only two material pieces of your evidence relating to my client, Mr. Siame, and they are both completely untrue. The first is your claim that he habitually said during your industrial troubles, "Troubles, Wilkie, nothing that couldn't be solved by a small contribution to the area secretary." Now, that is a complete fabrication, is it not?
Well, you ask any engineering employer in the 3 counties, that's his catchphrase.
The truth is, he never said such a thing.
Well, you can
Even
say,
in jest, sir.
you can say what you like, he did to me.
Yes, and your second invention is that one day you found him alone in your office. Now, that also is quite untrue.
Well, he'd be bound to say that, wouldn't he?
The fact is, Mr. Wilcox, that the collapse of your company was caused by 2 factors: industrial troubles and the competition of Gilman Industries, which effectively took the orders you couldn't fulfill.
Industrial sabotage and industrial espionage, that's what I call it.
I know you do. And you blame Mr. Siame and Mr. Gilman and set out to get them by fair means or foul.
Yes, I want to expose it, yes. I want the public to know.
First of all, you tried to get them one at a time, didn't you? You contacted Scotland Yard and told them that Mr. Siame was working for the Russians.
Ah, well, if you're saying I was wrong about that, I agree.
You subjected him to all sorts of interviews and inconveniences. The police inquiry showed the truth. Mr. Siame was nothing more than a fully paid-up member of the Labour Party. Then you put up the money to enable the liquidator to take a civil action against Gilman Industries to prevent them using what you call your trade secrets. That action was tried by a high court judge who gave judgment in favor of Gilman Industries.
There were a lot of irregularities in that case.
What do you mean?
Well, the barrister he had in the case and the judge, my lord, they got together.
Mr. Wilcox, what are you saying?
I saw them talking together, my lord.
And because you saw them talking together, you concluded that something improper was going on?
Well, they shouldn't have been talking to each other, should they?
Well, they might have been saying good morning or passing the time of day.
Or they were talking longer than that, my lord.
So the judge was either corrupt or at least not impartial. Which do you mean?
Not impartial, my lord.
I see.
You lost, Mr. Wilcox, and then you appealed, and you lost your appeal too, didn't you?
Yes, my solicitor said
Yeah,
that
well,
I
we
should
don't
have-
want to hear what he said.
Oh, I'm sorry, my lord. I was forgetting that's hearsay.
You hadn't any money left to appeal to the House of Lords, so you were going to sell your home to raise the cash. Now, that's right, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Fortunately for your wife and your children, the house was in her name and she refused to sell it.
Yes.
So, you left your wife and your children,
I still see them on Sundays.
and you took up a job as a labourer, I believe.
Yes.
Why not as a machine operator, Mr. Wilcox?
Why? Well, I couldn't rub shoulders with them anymore. That scum. I was sick of engineering. Anyway, where would I go? To Gilman's?
Then, instead of supporting your wife and your children, you employed a professional criminal, a man called O'Callaghan, to break into Gilman Industries and to plant this.
Well, it was no good waiting for the police, was it? He'd had them well and truly nobbled to our dog-loving friend over there.
Yes, but you haven't answered the question, have you, Mr. Wilcox? Did you employ a man called O'Callaghan to plant a document to make it look as though it had been stolen by or on behalf of Gilman Industries?
No, my lord.
Did you report it to the police when your burglar discovered Exhibit 4, this document at Gilman Industries?
Well, there was no need, my lord. They already knew that they caught him.
You mean your burglar bungled it?
Not entirely, my lord.
In any event, the police took no action against Mr. Gilman.
Should we be surprised?
No, Mr. Wilcox, not at all. Because it was a plant, wasn't it?
No.
So you wrote letters to MPs and newspapers alleging that Mr. Gilman had been bribing the police.
Yes, and he'd had them well and truly nobbled all along.
So Mr. Gilman took proceedings for an injunction against you. to prevent you repeating these libels. And judgment was given in favor of Mr. Gilman, was it not?
That was my solicitor's fault. He got a judgment in default.
Ah, yes, yes, of course. You tried to get the judgment set aside on the grounds that your solicitors hadn't told you what was going on. But you weren't believed, were you?
I've issued a writ against them, my lord.
Against whom? Your former solicitors?
Yes, my lord.
What for?
Conspiracy, my lord.
With whom?
Gilman, my lord.
I see. Yes, Mr. Canty.
Now, if what you say about Exhibit 4 is true, it was found by your burglar in Mr. Gilman's office in June 1973. That's right, isn't it?
Yes.
So if that's true, you knew then that it had been stolen, and you knew pretty well all that you know now, But until these proceedings were commenced in September of last year, that is September 1974, you never suggested to anyone, did you, that my client was the man responsible for taking this document from your offices and transporting it to Gilman offices?
No, I did not.
Well, if what you now say about my client, about his jovial requests for bribes, and of your having found him alone in your office, if all this is true, why on earth was nothing heard of it till September of last year?
Well, I know it's difficult to believe. I find it difficult to believe myself, but, well, me and Arthur was a chip off the old block. His dad and mine were on the dole together. We came out of school at 14, fighting mad like as like, except that Arthur was no good at anything, so he went into politics. And that, I always thought he was a bit of a red, but he was a decent lad with it, and we were both decent lads, and I just didn't see it.
When did the penny drop, Mr. Wilcox?
It was in August last year, my lord. I would have been on holiday, but for all the court orders out against me, and I was doing overtime on a Sunday, digging a soak away, and I took a break, members of the jury, and had a sandwich and looked at the paper, and there was this photograph, and it said, "Union officials and employers' representatives relax on trade mission." And there they were, our area secretary and Fulchester's leading industrialist, Charlie Gilman, posing with their arms round each other beside the swimming pool of the Tehran Hilton in Persia, and suddenly I knew what had been staring me in the face all the time, except that I couldn't see it.
So, because you saw a photograph of them together abroad on a trade mission, you understood that they had all along been conspiring against you?
Yes, my lord.
Oh, come, Mr. Wilcox, do you really expect the jury to believe that?
Yes?
No, the fact is, isn't it, Mr. Wilcox, that you are a man obsessed with a desire for revenge against a union official whose members upset your business, and a competitor who quite independently took perfectly fair advantage of your difficulties.
If by obsessed you mean determined to bring the guilty men to justice, yes, I am. And I'll do that even if it's the last thing I ever do.
The case of Wilcox versus Gilman and Siame will be resumed tomorrow in the Crown Court. And gave it to a rival industrialist. Wilcox has now brought a private prosecution against the trade unionist, Arthur Siame, and against the industrialist, Harold Gilman. Wilcox is not legally represented, and so the judge's burden is a heavier one than usual. Wilcox is being cross-examined by counsel for Mr. Gilman.
Mr. Wilcox, we know that in the case you put before the High Court judge, in which you claimed that my client or his company had stolen your production secrets, you advanced then all this evidence about coincidence. The judge found that there had been no such theft, did he not?
But I didn't have the evidence that I've got now. I didn't know they'd got the specifications, Exhibit 4. I didn't know they'd been on holiday together.
Yes, well, we don't want to hear all this from you. It's hearsay. Now, the judge did find that Mr. Gilman hadn't stolen your secrets. Isn't that right?
Yes, my lord.
Yeah.
The position is this, isn't it, Mr. Wilcox? The judge found that you yourself had given away a lot of your so-called secrets to Mr. Gilman one night at dinner when you drunk too much.
Oh, that's completely untrue. He made that up.
Oh, well, you said then that Mr. Gilman had made it up, but the learned judge preferred the evidence of Mr. Gilman, didn't he?
Well, the only explanation I can think of is one my lord doesn't like to hear.
What, that the trial judge was bribed? Well, you may as well say it if you want to get it off your chest. We've heard how Mr. Gilman bribed the police and he bribed your solicitors. We may as well hear that he bribed the judge as well.
It's the only explanation there is, my lord.
Yes, Mr. Lotterby.
One explanation, Mr. Wilcox, is that although your wife was present at that dinner party when you drank too much and talked too much, she was not called as a witness at the trial to support your evidence, was she?
No, the judge referred to that.
Well, did you ask her to give evidence?
Yes.
And did she refuse?
Yes.
Well, I submit, Mr. Wilcox, that was because your wife was not prepared to perjure herself.
No.
Mr. Wilcox, prior to 1970, you had had no industrial disputes at your works, had you?
No.
And in the 20 years before 1970, how often had you been on holiday with Mr. and Mrs. Siame?
Oh, about 10 times, I think.
When did you last go on holiday with them?
1968, I think it was.
Not after that?
No.
And then it was that your troubles began with members of Mr. Siame's union in 1970.
Yes.
You see, I'm wondering who paid for those joint holidays, Mr. Wilcox? Who paid for Mr. and Mrs. Siame's holidays? Just one moment, Mama. Yes, I see. I won't continue with that line of questioning, my lord.
Oh, I think I'd like to hear the answer to that question, Mr. Lotterby. Did you pay for his holidays?
No, I did not. No, nor the company, my lord.
Now, Mr. Wilcox, the fact that Mr. Gilman's production line is so similar to yours. Now, you've told us that the measurements, etc., laid out in Exhibit 4 result in the most efficient production line that could be achieved, what every manufacturer would aim at.
Yes.
Oh, then why, Mr. Wilcox, is it so surprising that Gilman's ended up with the same?
Well, I don't think you understand it. It takes years of trial and error to arrive at the perfect solution. You can't do it by theory. I mean, Gilman set up his production line in 6 months.
In 6 months. And you, Mr. Wilcox, how long did it take you to arrive at the perfect formula?
3 months.
3 months. Well, where did you get the figures from, Mr. Wilcox? Did you steal them?
I got them on a visit to Japan in 1970.
Oh, really? How, Mr. Wilcox?
I claim privilege from answering that question, my lord.
What? Oh, you mean the privilege which protects you from answering questions which might tend to incriminate you?
Yes, my lord.
Yes.
But you told us you are an honest man, Mr. Wilcox.
Your full name is Terence Donahue O'Callaghan.
Yes, my lord.
Where do you live?
26 Chester Mews, London, SW7.
South Kensington.
Yes, my lord.
What is your occupation?
Office, shop and housebreaking.
Yes. Do you remember what happened on 26th of June, 1973?
Yes, my lord. My lord, at about 11 p.m. on Tuesday, the 26th of June, 1973, at the request of a client, I broke in and entered some premises in Mill Lane, Fulchester. The premises were the offices Gilman Industries, my lord. I searched the building and found a document. I would recognise it if I saw it again.
Show him Exhibit 4.
Yeah, that's the one, all right.
Where did you find it?
In the safe, my lord. Simple combination.
Something happened after you found that document.
Yes, my lord, the constabulary arrived.
What did you do with that document?
I gave it to Detective Sergeant Rainbow.
What happened next?
Well, as a result of a conversation between Detective Sergeant Rainbow and myself, we continued the search of the office.
Did you find anything that interested you?
Yes, my lord, 4 cancelled cheques, each for £1,000, signed by H.C. Gilman and made out to Arthur Siame.
By cancelled, you mean the cheques had been stamped to indicate payment by the bank?
Yes, my lord.
What happened to the cheques?
I don't know, my lord. Sergeant Rainbow had me taken away.
Yes, Mr. Canty?
Now, Callahan, how many times have you been convicted of offences of dishonesty?
Oh, I really couldn't say offhand.
Well, 10 times, a dozen times.
Something of that order.
And no doubt on some of those occasions you pleaded not guilty.
I always plead not guilty, sir.
And give evidence on oath.
Oh, yeah.
Give false evidence on oath. In other words, lie.
Only where it's absolutely necessary.
You are a practiced perjurer, in fact.
Yes, sir.
And that is what you're doing today, isn't it? Perjuring yourself.
No, sir.
No. How did you get this assignment?
An advertisement in a newspaper. Professional burglar to assist in serious research program. Generous remuneration. Well, clever of old Wilkie, wasn't it? I mean, the newspaper would never have printed it if he'd said what he really wanted.
And what was the generous remuneration Mr. Wilcox offered you?
£2 grand.
£2,000? To plant that document and those checks in Mr. Gilman's offices?
No, to break in to see if I could find anything incriminating.
And if you found anything incriminating, to take it away?
Exactly.
Those checks you described, they didn't really exist, did they?
They did, sir.
Oh, no, O'Callaghan. You forged them, didn't you? And took them in with you as well to plant them.
Neither of us forged any checks. Those checks I saw were real.
Detective Sergeant Rainbow, when you interrupted O'Callaghan, he had already opened the safe.
Yes, sir.
And there was nothing you saw to indicate whether he had taken the documents out or, in fact, was about to put them into the safe.
Correct, sir.
And, of course, the same thing applies to the checks. You've no idea whether or not O'Callaghan himself had planted those things before you arrived.
That is correct, sir.
And you can't say whether the checks were forged or not,
Correct, sir.
or whether, in fact, the signature on them was that of Mr. Gilman.
Correct, sir.
Thank you, officer.
Sergeant, I don't suppose you were particularly interested in those checks, were you?
I was, as a matter of fact, sir. I had a good look at them.
Then you're pretty sure that they were made out to Arthur Siame?
Yes, sir.
Why were you interested in the cheques?
Well, my lord, Mr. Siame is a well-known trade unionist figure, and Mr. Gilman, well, he's a Tory gent. I couldn't help wondering.
Sergeant, did you report these matters?
Informally, my lord, to my superior.
Did you make any further inquiries?
No, my lord. Just after I'd made the report, I was moved from Fulchester to my present position at Penpaddock.
So, as far as you know, no further inquiries were made and the matter was dropped?
Yes, my lord.
Well, one does begin to see why Mr. Wilcox thought there'd been some kind of cover-up, doesn't one?
So, Mr. Siame, you became involved in union matters in 1940, and you have been an officer of ASC ever since.
Correct.
And I believe you're also a local councillor.
Correct.
And a justice of the peace. Now, I don't think even Mr. Wilcox would claim that this has anything to do with politics, but are you a communist, as he at one time suggested?
I am not.
I think you were appointed a justice of the peace in 1964.
Yes.
And I believe you're chairman of the Fulchester Society for Handicapped Children.
Yes.
Also a member of various other committees, including the Fulchester Sports Committee.
Yes.
And to complete the picture, I believe you are a married man with 2 children who are now grown up.
Both married, yes, with children of their own.
I see. Now, you've known Mr. Wilcox all your life. You were at school together.
Correct.
You even went on holiday with him.
The wife and I did, yes. And I'd like to say that the insinuations put by Mr. Lotterby on that fact are deplorable, coming from a member of a profession I've always had cause to respect.
The point I was making is that you kept up your friendship with Mr. Wilcox since school.
Why did you stop going on holiday with the Wilcoxes? We gather you went on about 10 occasions.
It was a personal matter, my lord.
Oh, between you and Mr. Wilcox?
Well, my wife, rather. She wasn't too keen on going with them anymore. She found his behaviour a bit embarrassing at times when we went out. He was, a bit loud, you know. He wasn't always like that. He just started to go a bit funny.
Yes, I see.
If it's important, my wife can come and explain. I mean, she'd be here anyway, except that she's looking after our grandchildren.
No, it's not important. Now, in 1970, Mr. Wilcox announced his plan to give his men a share in the ownership of his company. Now, what was your attitude to that?
I was opposed. For his sake. The climate was all wrong. The men on the floor suspected it of being an attempt to subvert the leadership. They didn't trust him.
And you? Did you trust him?
Well, at the time, I never thought of him as devious, no.
Do you now?
Well, to be frank, I don't think that George is fully responsible for his actions anymore.
Did you tell him that you were against this scheme for ownership?
Oh, I warned him time and time again, but he wouldn't listen. He was always stubborn, even at school. Said it was sense, and that the men couldn't help seeing it.
And the consequence, as we've heard, was interminable stoppages and strikes.
Correct.
Well, did you try and smooth things out?
Oh, I did everything I could, but the stewards kept well within their rights.
So you make no bones about it that the motive for the shop stewards was to get Mr. Wilcox to drop his scheme for co-ownership, and the ostensible reasons for the strikes, the rats in the lavatories and so on, were just excuses.
Well, not excuses, I wouldn't say no. No, they were genuine grievances, but they ought to have been solved some other way, but he put their backs up.
Yes, I see.
Now, it's suggested, I think, that all these troubles were promoted by you as part of a plot with Mr. Gilman. Now, what would you say to that?
A load of rubbish.
You did know Mr. Gilman at that time?
Well, of course, he's a magistrate like myself. Apart from which, I frequently saw him on union matters.
Is your union represented at Gilman Industries?
100%.
Well, they didn't have any industrial troubles at this time, did they?
Well, nothing much, but then they weren't being pig-headed like George.
Yeah.
Have you ever received any money from Mr. Gilman?
No.
Do you know anything about the checks described by Detective Sergeant Rainbow?
Well, I only know that I've never seen them and they never passed through my bank account. One can only presume that they were forged and planted.
Oh, there could be other explanations, Mr. Siame.
Well, all I know is what I've heard in this court, which, in my opinion, is not much evidence to go on.
Well, that is a matter for the jury, Mr. Siame.
Oh, I understand that. But I'm blowed if I'd know what to do with 4,000 quid if I had it. Doesn't take much to keep me and the wife happy.
May we show an Exhibit 4, please? Now, have you ever seen this document before?
Not before the other day.
You mean not before this trial?
Correct.
Did you steal it from Mr. Wilcox's office and give it to Mr. Gilman?
No. I've never been alone in his office, in spite of what he says.
That occasion Mr. Wilcox told us about is untrue.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Siame. Oh, wait there, please, will you?
May I say something, my lord?
Yes, of course.
Well, George has done a lot and said a lot of rum things in this court. But there's a lot of good in him. I mean, I've known him as long as anyone. Well, he's been under a lot of pressure. He was more broken up when Sally left him than he cares to admit.
That's his wife?
Yes. He thought the world of her.
Yes, I see. Anything else?
No, that's all.
Well, now, Mr. Lotterby, I don't suppose you want to cross-examine Mr. Siame? Oh, I don't think you would have any right to in any case.
No, my lord, I don't believe I
No,
would.
no, that's all right. Thank you. You can leave.
But aren't you going to cross-examine him, my lord?
No, Mr. Wilcox, I have no questions for him.
Well, then I will.
Oh, no,
I'm
you
not-
won't. Sit down and be quiet.
That is my case, my lord.
Very well. Yes, Mr. Lotterby.
I call Mr. Gilman, my lord. You are Harold Charles Gilman.
Yes?
Where do you live, Mr. Gilman?
Willow Shipley.
Now, you've been the managing director of Gilman Industries and Company since 1965.
Yes, that's when we took it over. It was called PJ Engineering then.
Now, I want you to tell the jury a little about yourself, if you would, Mr. Gilman. Now, you are a married man with children in their teens.
That's right, yes.
I believe you left school in 1938 when you entered the family engineering firm.
That is correct.
Then you joined up in 1939, were awarded the Military Cross for gallantry at Dunkirk, and subsequently saw action in North Africa and Normandy, finally being discharged in 1946 with the rank of Major. Then you went back into the family business, which, as we know, subsequently took over PJ Engineering, the company now known as Gilman Industries and Company. Oh, and I believe you are also Justice of the Peace.
Yes, since 1958.
Now, Mr. Gilman, I think you make no secret of the fact that in 1971, your company started a production of what are they called? Closures, identical to those that Wilcox Engineering had been endeavouring to produce.
I'd say virtually identical.
Well, how did it come about that the two production lines were virtually identical?
Two ways. A lot of it Wilcox told me himself.
Yes, now when was that?
Middle of 1970, I think. My wife and I had dinner with him and his wife.
Where?
At their home in Shepley.
Oh, yes, you were good friends then.
No, acquaintances would be a more appropriate word. We'd met to discuss the possibility of doing some business together. He was full of his closures, how much he was going to make, who he was going to sell them to, and... Well, he said more than he meant to, and I remembered a good deal of it.
It was a convivial evening, was it?
Oh, yes.
Drinks flowing.
Produced some excellent wine.
How much did he tell you?
Oh, most of the materials, grades of steel and so on, and where he got his orders from.
I see. Now, how did the other coincidence come about?
Oh, they weren't coincidences. I mean, as he said, it's the object of every production line to find the maximum margin of error that you can get away with.
May the witness be shown Exhibit 4, please. When did you first see that document?
Let me see. June 27th, 1973, the day after the break-in. The police sergeant who gave evidence earlier showed it to me. He asked me if it was ours. I told him that I'd never seen it before, which was and is the truth.
So the burglar O'Callaghan was trying to plant it on you?
Well, I don't see how else it would have got into my office.
You didn't ask Mr. Siame or anyone else to steal it from Mr. Wilcox?
Those are not my methods.
Did you ever give any money to Mr. Siame?
No.
How about those checks which Detective Sergeant Rainbow saw? Can you tell us anything about them?
Well, I'm afraid I can't, really. All I can think of, if they were real, that is that one of the casual labourers we had around in 1972 was called Siame, but I can't specifically remember that.
What happened to the checks?
Well, the trouble is that the sergeant claims to have saw the checks in June 1973. Now, the first I heard about them was when this proceeding started. In the meantime, a lot of old checks and things have been thrown away.
They can't be traced.
I'm afraid not.
What about your bank statements?
They only give the number of checks, I'm afraid. They don't show who they were made out to.
Yes, of course, they could have been forged by O'Callaghan or one of his acquaintances.
Yes, but as I say, I don't know.
Yes, Mr. Lodham.
I have no further questions, my lord. Thank you, Mr. Gilman.
I have none, my lord.
Mr. Gilman, Mr. Wilcox suggests that you and Mr. Siame went on holiday together. Is that so?
No. All we've been on together is a regional trades mission to Persia, the one that got into the newspapers.
Or when you were photographed together at the Tehran Hilton?
Yes, fortunately, if I may say so, at the expense of the Persian government.
Yes, I imagine it is pretty expensive.
Well, it is, but as it's the only civilized place in Tehran, it's worth every penny of it.
Yeah. Mr. Gilman, I see that after Mr. Wilcox's action against you had failed, I see that you purchased all his plant from the liquidator of his company.
We bought the whole factory, actually.
Oh, so you're manufacturing closures there now?
Yes.
So you did pretty well out of Mr. Wilcox's misfortunes, didn't you? And out of the information he let slip at a private dinner party at his own home when he'd had too much to drink, eh?
In a way, I'm sorry for him, though he's been a thorn in my side ever since he went bust. But he was, I am afraid to say, sir, the author of his own destruction. And someone else would have bought his factory if I hadn't.
You are Mrs. Sally Ann Wilcox?
I am.
Do you still live at Ashland's Victoria Ride, Shepley?
Yes.
You are the wife of Mr. George Wilcox, the prosecutor in this case.
Yes.
But you're now separated from him, is that right?
I've started divorce proceedings.
May I ask on what grounds you are seeking a divorce?
Unreasonable behaviour, my solicitor calls it.
Yes, I see. Thank you.
Mrs. Wilcox, did you come here to give evidence of your own free will?
No. I was summoned.
By a court order?
Yes.
Now, I want you to try to recall a dinner party that you gave for Mr. and Mrs. Gilman. Do you remember that occasion in 1970?
Yes, I should say I do. Mr. Gilman brought his dog into the house, and it chased our Siamese up the new dining room curtains.
Well, after the cat had come down, was there any conversation about these closures that your husband was then planning to manufacture?
Yes, yes, there was.
Who was talking about it?
George, mostly.
Can you remember what sort of things he said?
Yes. He gave away a lot about who was placing orders.
Gave away, Mrs. Wilcox?
Yes. He always used to talk too much about that sort of thing. I was always on at him not to.
Now, apart from the market, as it were, did he talk about anything else?
Yes, the costings.
And did that involve saying anything about materials?
Yes, he said far too much about that.
Do you by any chance remember any examples?
No, I'm afraid I can't.
I see. Thank you, Mrs. Wilcox. Stay there, please.
Mrs. Wilcox, do you feel any hostility, ill will towards your husband?
No, none.
Was yours a happy marriage?
Yes. Until he became obsessed by all this. It just took hold of him. He'd have sold everything we had if I'd let him. But when there was just the two of us, I wouldn't have minded. But someone's got to think about the children.
How old are they?
The boys are 14 and 15.
So it was then that you parted?
Yes. He stopped making sense. Sometimes I thought he was going balmy, accusing everyone of conspiracy. He only had to talk to someone one day about his troubles, and then the next day he'd be accusing them of being part of the conspiracy.
Yes, I see. Mr. Wilcox, what on earth are you doing now?
Just serving a writ, my lord.
What?
On me, apparently, my lord. It issues from the Fulchester District Registry, and I see I'm named as defendant. And it's generally endorsed the plaintiff's claim is for defamation of character in cross-examination and conspiracy to pervert the courts of justice.
Mr. Wilcox, this is the grossest contempt of court.
The case of Wilcox versus Gilman and Siame will be concluded tomorrow in the Crown Court. In 1971, the engineering business built up by George Wilcox went bankrupt. He claims this was the result of the activities of a rival industrialist, Harold Gilman, and a local trades unionist, Arthur Siame, alleging that Gilman bribed Siame to steal a document containing details of Wilcox's production secrets. Wilcox has brought a private prosecution against Siame and Gilman for the theft of the document. The trial at Fulchester Crown Court is now in its third day. Yesterday, Wilcox, who is not legally represented, served a writ on counsel for Mr. Gilman, alleging defamation and conspiracy to pervert the course of justice.
It is immaterial whether or not you genuinely believe Mr. Lotterby to be part of a conspiracy to pervert the course of justice, except insofar as the fact that you hold that belief suggests a degree of unsoundness of mind which will go to mitigate the penalty I shall impose upon you. The service of writs on lawyers engaged in a case is calculated to affect the discharge of their duties, and as such is a grave contempt of court. You'll go to prison for 3 months. Now, before you're taken down to the cells, there is one other matter to be dealt with. My clerk tells me you wish to tender some more evidence. This cannot be done once a prosecution case is closed, as it has here, save in exceptional circumstances.
But there are exceptional circumstances, my lord.
What is the evidence?
But didn't they tell you, my lord? We've got the checks. We've got the checks.
What checks? The ones that Sergeant Rainbow found at Gilman Industries?
No, show him, Angela, show him.
When did you get these?
Well, last night, my lord. His secretary came round with them, but that's not all. Look at these.
What are those?
The bills from restaurants, my lord. Meals for the area secretary, paid for by Fulchus's dog-loving industrialist.
Mr. Canty, Mr. Lotterby, have you seen these checks?
No, my lord.
Nor I, my lord.
Well, they are made out to Arthur Siame. They bear the signature, H.C. Gilman. There are 4 of them, and each one is for £1,000. I shall give leave for this secretary to be called.
Indeed, my lord. I take it there will be the usual notice of additional evidence.
Oh, yes. Mr. Wilcox, I see you have your own copy of Archbold there. Yeah, will you look at page 204, paragraph 446? That deals with additional evidence. Do you think you can get that done this afternoon?
Oh, yes, my lord.
Very well. We'll adjourn until tomorrow.
My lord, please. I am taking instructions.
Oh, yes, all right.
My lord, I am instructed that my client has no longer his bank statements for that period. That is the year 1970-71.
Then he better get some copies from his bank, hadn't he? Are the solicitors for the defendants present? Yes, I shall require a personal undertaking from each of you for the safe return of these checks. Photocopies will be taken of the originals before they are handed to you. But you will be responsible to me for the safe return of the original checks when this hearing is resumed. Miss Goodison, what is your full name?
Amanda Goodison, sir.
Yes. And where do you live?
116 Parkside, Fulchester.
And you are Mr. Gilman's secretary?
Well, I'm not sure.
Huh?
We haven't spoken since I didn't dare go back to work.
Well, you were his secretary until a few days ago.
Yes.
Yeah. How long have you been his secretary?
16 years in January.
Aye. Now, you've been listening to this trial from time to time.
Yes, Mr. Gilman wanted me in case there were any errands needed running.
Yeah. So you heard his evidence that checks returned by the bank during the last few years had all been thrown away?
Yes, it wasn't true. Oh, I'm sure he didn't know about it. He told me to turn out all the old documents and burn them, but I didn't do it.
Why not?
Well, you never know when you might want to check on something, do you? Do you know we once had someone who claimed £500 we'd already paid 10 years before? Fortunately, I'd kept the receipt.
Yes. When did Mr. Gilman tell you to burn all the old checks?
Oh, in the autumn sometime. Yes, September. It was just after my holiday. A chore for the first day back.
What was the date?
The 20th. I know that because it should have been the 21st, only my sister muddled up the flights.
Now, do you know that the 20th, that date, was 2 days after the committal proceedings of this case had been heard in the magistrate's court?
Oh, was it? Oh, yes, I suppose so. Of course, I was abroad then.
Will you please look at these checks?
Oh, yes, certainly.
You recognize them?
Yes, these are the ones I found the other day, with the others.
What did you do with the checks?
I gave them to Mr. Wilcox.
Why to Mr. Wilcox? Why not to Mr. Gilman or to his solicitor? Did you have a grudge against Mr. Gilman?
Oh, no. He's always been most considerate. It's just that I thought, well, better not, just in case.
Just in case what?
Well, just in case what poor Mr. Wilcox was saying was true. Well, I thought if it was, and if I gave the cheques to Mr. Gilman and his solicitor, something might happen to them.
Now, Mr. Siame, if we look at your bank statements for the year 1970-71, we can see 4 credits of £1,000 each, can't we?
Yes.
Is it now your belief that these 4 credits were, in fact, the 4 cheques from Gilman Industries?
It is.
Yes. And I think if we look at the statements, we can see quite a number of large credits for that period. That was the year 70-71. Yes, there's one here for 2,000, another for 500, 750, 800, 1,500, 4,000, and so on.
Correct.
Yes. Now, Mr. Siame, what were these payments for?
They were all expenses that
What kind of expenses? Oh, we've heard all too often from public figures during the last few years.
If you just let me finish. It was to do with a conference in 1970 that I organised, a joint conference of union representatives and managers, and these were all contributions to the expenses.
I see. You'd organise this conference in a personal capacity.
Well, no. I'd passed the accounts, the payments, on to the union account.
I see. Now, you said in evidence that you never received any money from Mr. Gilman.
Well, I haven't.
Now, how about these statements?
Well, those weren't to me, those were to the union.
Why didn't you tell us all this before, then? That what looked like payments to you were, in fact, payments to the union.
I clean forgot.
You forgot about 4 separate payments from Mr. Gilman of £1,000 each?
Well, I suppose it was because it was union money that I forgot all about it, my lord.
Apart from this matter, is the rest of your earlier evidence true?
It is.
Thank you, Mr. Siame.
Mr. Siame, when was this conference?
September 1970.
You say that all these large credits you've been telling your counsel about were connected with that?
Yes, sir.
What about this first one? £2,000 on the 3rd of June. That's 3 months before the conference.
That must have been a payment on account.
From whom?
Well, I couldn't say at this moment of time. I mean, from a union or a company.
What is it now, Mr. Wilcox?
A point I'd like you to make, my
Well,
lord.
show it to Mr. Canty first.
Thank you, my lord.
What is Le Chasseur? A restaurant?
I believe so, my lord. One of those posh places in Fulchester.
You been there?
Yes.
Well, if you know it's a restaurant, why do you say you believe it's a restaurant? Here, look at this.
Where did this come from?
Never mind that. Is that your signature?
It looks like it.
Is it?
Well, unless it's a forgery, yes.
I'll tell you where it came from. Someone who wishes to remain anonymous sent it to Mr. Wilcox. Now, it's a bill, isn't it, from Le Chasseur restaurant. Signed by you for a meal costing £164.
Yes, that is correct.
I thought you and your wife had frugal tastes.
It must have been a big union reception, my lord.
Give it to me. Yeah, now look, there are 8 entrees listed. That indicates a party of 8.
Yes.
Wine, £80.
We probably had a foreign delegation, my lord.
You mean to say you don't remember a meal costing £164? It was only last year.
Well, in all fairness, I have to attend a great many functions.
Yeah. Well, let's have another look at your bank statements. Now, you claim that you received this £12,000 on behalf of the union, including Mr. Gilman's £4,000.
Well, my arithmetic's not very good, but yes, it does look like that.
Well,
yes,
where is the debit showing that you passed this £12,000 on to the union?
Well, it's not there.
No, it's not.
I must have paid cash, my lord.
Yes, but even a cash withdrawal would be shown in the debit column, just like any other debit.
Well, I suppose that I must have paid some of the union bills direct from my account, my lord.
You suppose? You don't know?
Yes, that is what I did.
Well, was there a union, whatever it is, area secretary who kept proper accounts?
Well, of course, my lord.
So if you had paid union debts with their money held in your bank, that would be reflected in the union accounts, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, well, can we see them, these union accounts?
Well, I'm afraid I wouldn't have the authority. I'd have to ask.
There's another officer of the union.
Oh, yes, I understand there is another officer of the union in court apart from Mr. Siame.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. May I ask who you are?
Abraham Wiltshire. I'm chairman of the area committee.
haven't seen you here earlier in this trial.
No, I only came when I heard it was hotting up a bit.
Hotting up? Well, would the union be prepared to bring these accounts to court? I warn you, if you don't bring them willingly, I'll issue a subpoena.
Well, I'd have to consult, but I'm certain there'd be no difficulty. We just want to get this all cleared up.
Good. How long will it take?
About an hour to find the right ones.
Could you do that now?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Could I sit down for a moment, please? I haven't been feeling too
Yes,
well
yeah,
lately.
of course. Usher, please bring Mr. Siame a chair.
Thank you.
My lord, may I take advantage of this temporary lull to ask your lordship to put on record a complaint?
Yes, Mr. Canty, what is it?
Now, my lord, I have great difficulty in framing this, but I ask you to accept that I mean no disrespect. But all laboring under great difficulties. Now, this case without prosecuting counsel is unique, in my experience. In this circumstance, it is with great diffidence that I have to suggest that your lordship, in cross-examining my client, has entered too far into the arena. Your lordship has lost some of that appearance of impartiality which is the prerequisite of a fair trial.
Oh, I hope not, Mr. Canty, but if you wish me to record that complaint, I will.
Yes, I do, my lord. I should also state that I shall object if you cross-examine my client any further on his bank statements or the union accounts when they arrive in the manner which your lordship has been employing until now.
May I say something?
Yes, of course, Mr. Siame. What is it?
Well, what I've been saying, it isn't the truth.
In what respect is it untrue?
All that stuff about the money being for the conference, it was untrue. I was lying.
So we won't be needing the union accounts after all. Eh, Mr. Canty?
What I'm telling you now will be the finish of me in the movement. It was something I didn't want to come out. It's not against any of the rules, but... So, I'm afraid I lied, my lord.
But you're telling us the truth now.
The whole truth.
Yes, so you say that because of your approaching retirement, you decided in your spare time to do work as an industrial relations consultant, and that's what these payments were for, of £12,000, including Mr. Gilman's £4,000.
Yes, my lord.
Did Mr. Gilman have any other factories other than the one we've heard about, Gilman Industries?
Oh, yes, my lord. 2 or 3 others, I believe.
And in respect of which factories were you giving advice?
Well, I wasn't just giving general advice.
Oh, just giving general advice, yes. And are the employees of Mr. Gilman's other factories members of your union?
Oh, no, my lord. I mean, it wouldn't be proper for me to be advising them if they were.
No, it wouldn't. Any re-examination, Mr. Canty?
No, my lord.
Yes, you may return to the dock, Mr. Siame. Now, Mr. Lotterby, do you propose to recall your client?
Yes, my lord. Go back into the witness box, please, Mr. Gilman.
You are still on oath, Mr. Gilman.
Now, Mr. Gilman, what have you to say about these 4 cheques and Mr. Sieme's evidence?
The checks are genuine, all right. Siame isn't. He's still lying. I lied first time round, I admit, but not anymore. I paid Siame that money for one reason and one reason only, to keep him off my back. To guarantee that my factory would be trouble-free, and it was. All that maloney about him acting as an industrial relations consultant. I haven't got any other companies. You can search Company's House from top to bottom. That money was a bribe. That's where old Wilkie went wrong. Stopped taking Arthur on holiday and then failed to take the hint.
Yes, Mr. Wilcox said that Mr. Siame had a catchphrase. Troubles, Wilkie, nothing that couldn't be solved by a small contribution to the area's secretary. What do you say about that?
Absolutely true. Oh, he had a clever, jokey way of saying it, but it was no joke. Where do you think the other 8,000 quid came from? Poor old Wilkie was too straight to see it. Those holidays were quite genuine. No ulterior motive, not capable of forming them.
Now, apart from this matter of the payments and the bribes, is the rest of your earlier evidence true?
It is.
You did not get Mr. Siame or anyone else to steal that document, Exhibit 4.
No, I've told you, I'd never seen that until the day after Wilkie's burglary.
Thank you, Mr. Gilman. Wait there, please.
Now, Mr. Gilman, the position is this, isn't it? In 1970, you were thinking of opening up some new factories, and you approached Mr. Siame for some inside information about the unions in the areas where you were thinking of opening these factories.
No, sorry, baloney. That money was a straight bribe.
Necessary, you say, to keep your factory trouble-free?
Yes.
Well, if that is the explanation for the industrial peace in the year 1970-71, how do you explain it since then?
The same way. He's had 4,000 a year on a regular basis.
So you say.
So do the checks. My solicitors retrieved them from Amanda. Those are them.
What? Oh.
Well, these will be Exhibit 6. Oh, you finished, Mr. Candy? Mr. Gilman, we've only your word for it that these payments you made, £4,000, 1970-71, to Mr. Siame, and indeed all the payments you made to him, were not a reward for, amongst other things, stealing Exhibit 4.
Indeed.
Yeah, I mean, on your own admission, you perjured yourself earlier in your evidence, and if we accept your evidence now, you didn't hesitate to steal Mr. Wilcox's secrets when he blurted them out at a private dinner party in his own home. You didn't hesitate to bribe an officer of your employees' union. Why should the jury accept your word? You're an utterly ruthless man, don't you agree?
Look, I'm sorry, but I don't suppose you have much contact with the realities of industry. We're there to make money, to keep the wheels turning, to keep the company going, and incidentally to provide employment. I'll try all the legitimate channels, but when they fail, if a few quid in the right direction will do the trick, that's what I'll do.
Mr. Gilman, what do you think of the trade unions in general?
I think they're the scum of the earth. They made a mockery of our lives, everything we fought for during the war to keep this country decent for our children.
And you'd like to see the trade unions brought to heel?
I would.
When Mr. Siame came to you with his, as you put it, jokey way of asking for a bribe, what did you think of him?
Just confirmed that he was the vermin I'd always thought.
Why didn't you expose him?
It would have been just his word against mine.
Oh, no, not once you paid him with a cheque and got that cheque safely back into your own hands.
What would be the use? Have the business destroyed and the men put out of work? I wish I could explain to people who don't know what goes on. They've got the country hostage.
One explanation of why you didn't expose Mr. Siame for being the vermin and scum that you say he is might be that the payments of money to him were what Mr. Wilcox alleges they were. Payments for stealing Mr. Wilcox's secrets, Exhibit 4.
Members of the jury, I swear to God that isn't so.
Members of the jury, as you know, there are 2 charges, and you have to decide whether the ingredients of those offences have been satisfied. Now, the first charge is against Arthur James Siame, and he is charged with stealing a document. He's not charged with anything else. The second charge is against Harold Charles Gilman. Now, he is charged with receiving that document, knowing or believing that it was stolen. Now, that is what you have to decide. Did Siame steal the document? Did Gilman dishonestly receive it? You are not here to pass judgment upon the morality or the personalities of these 2 men. Now, as you may also know, you must be entirely satisfied by the evidence before you can convict a man. And if you are not so satisfied, then you must acquit him. So it may be helpful to ask yourselves, did this document ever come into the possession of Mr. Gilman? Now, if it did come into his possession, the question is, how did it get there? According to Mr. Wilcox's evidence, Mr. Siame had one very clear opportunity. So, then you must ask yourselves, why did Mr. Gilman make these payments to Mr. Siame? Was it, as Mr. Siame says, a payment as an industrial relations consultant? Was it, as Mr. Gilman says, a bribe so that he could have industrial peace in Mr. Gilman's factory? Or was it, as Mr. Wilcox claims it is, the payment to Siame to ensure industrial strife in Mr. Wilcox's factory, and also for stealing Mr. Wilcox's secrets, Exhibit 4. These are the questions that you have to weigh, and they will depend very much on the credibility of the two accused. Now, it's entirely a matter for you, but you may not think that either of these men is worthy of much credit. They're both justices of the peace. They both hold offices as servants of the public, and yet they have both admitted that they perjured themselves in their evidence. Now, you may think that if they would lie for one reason, they would lie for another. And if that is so, it is open to you not to accept one word of explanation from either of them. But this is a matter entirely for you. Let the jury bailiff be sworn.
Members of the jury, will your foreman please stand? Just answer this question, yes or no. Have you reached a verdict on which you're all agreed?
Yes.
On count 1 of the indictment, do you find Arthur James Siame guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
On count 2 of the indictment, do you find Harold Charles Gilman guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Arthur Siame and Harold Gilman were each sentenced to 2 years' imprisonment, and George Wilcox served 3 months for contempt of court. You can join another jury when our cameras return to bring you a leading case from the Crown Court.